Everybody, I'm Stacy with Stacy's Organizing and Decorating for Life, or stacyforlife.com. I'm here to help you organize your thoughts and decorate your perspectives. So we've been talking about this global healing and global recovery, which we're all in right now, right? So my question this week is, what are we doing now? What are we doing now? So this comes from me. I've been working with you, talking about the steps the last 3 weeks. This is going to be the third week. So we've talked about how we dealing with this mentally, mind, body, and now we're to the soul part. So if you like that, that's going to be our topic today. Please hit the like and subscribe button below if you haven't already. So I'll just go over a quick review right quick. In the first 3 steps, if you've not watched any of my other 2 videos, the last 2 videos, then the first one, we talked about the mental part, mind, is that we start making a decision, and how we get to that is that we surrender. We realize that we're powerless and unmanageable over all this uncertainty going on in the world right now, and that we maybe feel we feel insane. And we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to that sanity, but we also made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understand God. So please don't get stuck up on the God thing if you're, as you understand God isn't good, because you have a time in your life where you have plenty of time to make and create a new higher power for yourself, a power greater than yourself. Because if you're worrying right now, you're given worry as your higher power. That makes sense. So we're coming about where we need to change, because in this uncertainty, some people are going back to the same job or working the same job, some people are not. So it's time where we have a pause and we can recreate ourselves. So then we're going to have to, if we've had to surrender to all that stuff that I just talked about, then we're ready to go to steps 4 through 9. And 4 through 9 are our development steps. Those are the steps where we do the work. So those are the body steps. Those are things that we have to put pen to paper to. We're going to have to, reflect and look back and see how we can change our behaviors or change our thoughts so that we can, assume better positions in this life when this crisis is all over. So the things that in the past weren't serving us, maybe they're certainly not serving us at home. So what else would you be doing? What are we doing? In the 4th step, we looked at how made a searching, fearless moral inventory of ourselves. So we looked at what had been wrong done to us and the stuff that we interned after picking up self-sabotaging, self-seeking habits so that we wouldn't be hurt again or be in fear again that we do to others. So in making this inventory, we list all these people's names and the fear that came along behind it. And the fear is described as the ways, like jealousy, fear of abandonment. Jealousy is fear that somebody's going to get more attention or get something that you want. So there's all these fears that have to do with our self-seeking because we didn't learn how to do that right, possibly. And right now we're in a time of seeking anyway. So we want to make sure that we're rightly directed on that and not using tools of the past that won't serve us anymore. So then, as I said before, this isn't a substitute for the program of recovery. If you need recovery, they have recovery for gambling issues. If you're realizing you have a gambling issue, drug and alcohol are the same thing. So those addictions, there's sex addictions, there's all kinds of addictions that could be running rampant right now. Food addictions. There's even video game addictions and things like this. There's all kinds of addictions or things that you may be finding that you're having problems with. If you're just sitting there playing video games, where are you going to be at the end of this if you have no job right now? So what would you be doing? This is the thing. So it's about taking ownership and responsibility of where our lives are going and not living on default or just reacting to trauma. So this is the healing part when we get to steps 4 through 9. So I suggest when you get to your 5th step, admitting to God yourselves into another human being, that you have a sponsor if you are in any of those programs that I mentioned, and that you're able to talk to them. But if you're not, not everybody needs a program. Not maybe everybody has an addiction. There's a lot of people in fear that don't have an addiction or possibly need a program, codependence, anything like that. I don't know. That could be really strong right now. If it's not strong now, it might be after this is over because you're cooped up in the house with people. But, it's, finding a different set of skills and tools. That's how I come up with skills and tools. So it's finding a different set. So the 5th step, you admit to God, to yourself, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. And so when we know what we've done wrong, we can change it. But if we don't acknowledge what we've done wrong, or things that are no longer serving us, or behaviors that are no longer serving us, and then we can't fix it. So we talk to not the people that we feel like did us wrong, not other people we're looking to fix us, because nobody's going to fix us. We have to fix ourselves, but we tell somebody else. You tell your sponsor. Hopefully you have a sponsor if you're in one of those programs. If you're not, hopefully you have a therapist or a life coach. And if you don't have a therapist or a life coach, you can have a clergy, but it's not going to be just where you say a prayer and go on, because the next steps require your action too. So you're going to have to do some footwork in the next steps as well. So after you admit to God, to yourself, and to another human being the exact nature of your wrongs, then you're going to look at your defects of character, and name what those are. And those defects are the things like I just said, those fears, the jealousy, the fear of abandonment. And then the 7th step, again, you can go on my website and see this all listed out of how it pertains to this thing that we're going through right now, because it's tweaked to that. I'm just trying to give you a quick review. The 6th and 7th step that I talked about was your intention and your motivation, getting rid of fear and those rationalizations and justifications, because we really look at our behavior and we start that healing process. And before we were looking at ourselves, we might have rationalized and justified behaviors that are no longer serving us or working for us, but they're not anymore. So we look at our intentions and our motivations so that we're not rationalizing and justifying our behavior. The 7th step I shared with y'all. My sponsor told me to do the opposite of what I would normally do. And what these steps bring us to is then we get the 8th and 9th step. It's also naming it, claiming it, blessing it, and letting it go. We're getting into the forgiveness steps. We want others to forgive us, and we have to forgive ourselves. Ourselves is one of the people that's on these lists that we make, because we've harmed ourselves. We can't harm others without harming ourselves. So we humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. 8, we made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. You don't just run out making amends to people. Again, like I said, the same person that you talked to with the 5th step, that you told your wrongs, the things that had been done to you, and the things that you in turn, those tools that you picked up to defend yourself and keep you from the pain that are no longer serving you, that self-sabotaging behaviors, that same person you're going to talk to before you run out and do your 8th and 9th step. When you do your 8th step, after you've made that list, you'll go over it with your sponsor or your clergy or your life coach or therapist or whoever, and y'all get to go through there and see who you actually need to make an amends to, because when you get to the amends, it's to such people, except when to do so would injure them or others. So you're not going to run out and injure people because you're trying to get your soul cleaned. Because what's happened is that all this stuff has been buried on top of your soul and kept you from your conscious contact with your higher power, whoever that is. So you're getting freed, getting this stuff all off your soul so that you can live from your own essence and your own being, and not be, reacting out of pain anymore. And any of that, you get to be free, because it doesn't feel good when we're reacting out of pain, does it? So, talk to somebody before you do that, because there's all kinds of different amends. There's a living amends where you just don't do what you did before, and somebody, you need guidance before you go off making amends. And when you do get to that 9th step in making amends, it says wherever possible. So it doesn't mean that you have to go seeking and finding everybody out right away, because if you're getting a relationship and building a relationship with that higher power is not going to let people be in the way that until they're ready and you're ready. So this is what I'm talking about with this cosmic consciousness that we're getting into in the 10th, 11th, and 12th step, because we start realizing that things are working in a divine order. So all this action, I put it in the stepwise right there, but what are you doing right now? Like right now for me, I'm not technically working those steps, but I'm doing stuff. I'm watching motivational videos, I'm watching educational videos, so that I'm going to have a better language when I do, am talking to more people and raising my vibration, because what kind of people do I want to be dealing with, and what kind of clients can I help? And I want to be able to help people. I want to be able to help people, and I don't want to just sit there after sitting here in a daze, for however long it takes for us to be able to deal with people, and then when I deal with people, not feel comfortable with it. So I still need to feel comfortable with it. I still have to have that vibration and be on that level. I have to be motivated to motivate others, and I have to be, educated to be able to educate others, and I have to do these things, so I'm not stopping. I also have to keep myself fit mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, and how am I going to help somebody else if I don't do that? So this is things that we need to be doing. That would be our 4th through 9th step right now. But then once we get through this and get past this, see, because I have my dreams and goals and visions. I've told y'all what they are in some previous videos, and I have to be at a level. I can't just say I learned that, after I have worked these steps. I used to sit on the couch and have dreams and goals and visions, but I just sat on the couch and had dreams and goals and visions. I didn't put them into fruition, and it takes that action. I have to make up my mind, and I have to, put my body to work. And then I go after my dreams and goals and visions because I'm on that wavelength, that level, because everything is energy and a vibration, and even that can be your higher power. And if your energy and vibration, they have to be aligned with what you want. And if you're sitting there in fear, it's not going to be aligned with what you want after this comes out. What is it that you want to do? This is the time to prepare. If you're sitting there playing video games with this time, if you're sitting there doing this, do you think what you're setting yourself up for, do you think you're going to be a master video game player, or that you're going to get recognized for that, or that you're being of service? Because that's the really big deal when we get to the 10th, 11th, and 12th step, is being of service, because when we get to that 12th step, we're helping others. And it's that we have evolved through working these steps. So we don't get to a plateau, y'all, because life on life's terms is going to come. Hence, I'm not stupid why I've worked the steps that many times. It's when life on life's terms comes and I don't know what to do, then I know that I have the steps as my tool. And having worked them all these different times, I continue to build my relationship with that cosmic consciousness, that higher power, the all, or the source, or the universe, whatever you want to call it, because my higher power is unlimited. That's why I have so many names for my higher power, is that my higher power is just unlimited. My higher power is unlimited to a certain place, a certain race. My higher power is for everybody and everything. So it's not about this or that and tit for tat. I like polarities, and polarities are necessary, and that's another video. But once we learn to embrace that, and that's what we get through working these steps, is we get to look at our dark side and see where it come from and what we can use, that strengths, because we got some strengths from our dark side, but we get to let the weaknesses go that we got, so it's checks and balances. And, you all know that that's what I try to do, is help you all have balanced consciousness. And then we get into the serendipity that I have talked about when we get to 10, 11, and 12. Because the 11th step is my favorite. The 10th, we continue to take personal inventory. So this just means when I go to bed at night, that I have a good consciousness, that I'm not worried if I said something ugly to or about somebody, that I'm not worried if I've done something wrong to somebody, or if I've done, I get to go to bed with a clear conscience, that be able to sleep. I'm not worried about what somebody said to me when I go to bed. It's because I've learned who I am. People can say ugly stuff about me, but it doesn't mean that's who I am, So I have gotten to learn through these processes of knowing who I am, and that's just what I'm suggesting to you, is to whatever it takes during this pause for you to get to know who you are. Maybe it's not these steps. Maybe, it's something else, but to apply yourself to something. And if you're struggling, just know that there's a way out, and you don't have to go through the struggle. You're not alone. That's why all the steps have the we part, because we are not alone. All those steps that I have read to you, and it's just a we. Because what we learn through working these steps is that other people, we learn more about humanity and humility, that other people have suffered and struggled. All people have suffering and struggling. But we all can rise above those things. And to be able to have another person that can have, that's risen above things, to be able to have encouragement for you and guidance for you is so helpful. If you or anybody would benefit from these steps, or benefit from 20 to 30 minutes of talking with me, I would be happy to talk to somebody for 20 or 30 minutes if they need to be talked off that ledge or what have you, if I could. I'm not saying that I can. I'm just saying I would be willing to. So you can reach me at stacyreinick@gmail.com, or, there's my webpage that I'll list under here, where you can read the whole thing about the steps if you'd like more information about how you can apply these steps to the global crisis. I wrote in my blog for this month how you can apply them to this global crisis and to reinventing and rediscovering yourself and getting to this place of serendipity, that where I know that right now, what I'm doing right now is going to put me on that wavelength that I want to be when I come out of here. I'm not going to be just sitting there with my hand in my, on my face and wondering what's my place, what do I do. I'm going to know that I'm going to come out of this better and stronger than I ever thought, with more experience, with more knowledge, with more humility, more gratitude. I think we're all going to come out of this with more gratitude, and that's something that I practice on a daily basis as well. And if I'm not practicing it, I can call up one of my friends and they can remind me to practice it. So I hope, again, this has been helpful. If you feel it would help somebody else, please feel free to share. And again, I would be willing to talk to somebody for free for 20 or 30 minutes and maybe 3 times, because I can't help you probably in one call, but maybe I can help you in one call. I would be willing, because it's really my goal to help you organize your thoughts and decorate your perspectives, but to raise the consciousness of this place, because the 12 steps says, as a result of working these steps, we had a spiritual awakening, and we, just practice these. We had our spiritual awakening, and I'm willing to share my spiritual awakening with other people. I love that stuff. So I'm not going to try to, beat you over the head with this or anything else, but I just wanted you to know that there is help, that there's something else. It says, we having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to addicts or people and to practice these principles in all of our affairs. So many of the people that I've worked with are not addicts or not anything like that, but I'm able to practice some principles that I developed through this character searching and soul building process that I did, because I've dug my soul back out so that I can share it and bear it with you all, and I'm not ashamed anymore. So with that being said, I wish you much peace and love, and I'll talk to you again next week. Thanks.